taking Juan Williams' place?
No, just kidding. Careful.
The first question, Paul, it's usually with Hannah News. But something I've been sort of...
We're getting Gary Mohr over here. Did you have Gary here? Yes.
How will the state deal with kind of the inevitable sort of not my backyard issues that may come up around community corrections, more people going, into the community as opposed to the short timers?
Well, again, Gary, the question is, how do folks deal with the, not my backyard with community corrections and.
The whole issue, you got to be credible, and you have to involve the community. I mean, you can't force anything on anyone anymore. So it has to be part of that. Plus, it has to make sense. I think sometimes it may make sense in somebody's mind, but if you're not out there sharing it with the community, getting the community involved, and ensuring that what you're doing is right, it's evidence-based. I mean, you can't do this trial and error stuff out here all the time. It's got to be evidence-based, and we've just launched this new initiative called ORAS, which is for the first time ever, judges, probation officer, prison people, county prosecutors, all of the folks are going to be using the exact same instrument, the exact same definitions of risk, and so we're finally starting to get people on the same page, and I think that's how you do it.
One of the things this morning I heard on the radio is that in Texas, they're having a real hard time with the prisons down there, the private prisons, because these prisons aren't making money anymore as the inmate population has dropped. They're not making the money. They're moving out, and they're leaving the local communities told with shaft, and some of them are even raising taxes to be able to accommodate the loss of jobs and income off those private prisons that once were thriving. What are you going to do to make sure that Ohio, when you sell these prisons, that these prison owners are actually going to keep the lockup running and going to keep the money there?
These will be in 2-year contract increments, number one, and we have population projections, so we know our contract will match the number of inmates that we're going to have, number one. Number two, the other thing is we're going to have full-time contract monitors inside these prisons to ensure that staff are filling the posts that need to be filled, and that every operation that we say needs to happen through Ohio policy is in fact being done. So, and then every 2 years we'll reassess how we're doing. I hope sentencing reform works, and I hope we start sending some of these 12,000 inmates that are coming into us every year into community settings that we just talked about. So we have to keep reassessing what our current population will be, and every 2 years we'll need to recalibrate that.
Well, it would be just absolutely fantastic if one of the things that you run into is when you have unemployment, poverty, drug addiction, which is all sort of connected together, and crime. It'd be great if we ended up having a problem where we didn't have to put so many people in prison. That would be like a great day.
Governor, Senate Bill 5 is coming up at the House soon. Are you concerned the House might weaken it from what you like, and also particularly related to police and fire exclusion? Is that a concern?
The legislature, they're getting very close to, may actually have reached agreement on what works, and I'm really not very concerned. I think the legislature, we're all in this together, we're all a team, and let me just say a couple things here. First of all, our communities, I told somebody the other day that I saw a mayor, I said, thanks for the thank you note. He said, I didn't send you any thank you note. I said, you will when I give you the tools to control your costs. What we do here in this bill is to preserve the right of public employees to collectively bargain for wages and also for working conditions. But when you have your average private sector worker paying 23% of their health care costs and the average city worker paying 9%, if the public foot found that out, they would say we absolutely need to rebalance what we're doing. And so this is really nothing more than an effort to rebalance the system and make sure that people who pay the taxes are represented at the table.
Governor, would you be concerned if they took out police?
I don't speculate about legislation. they're doing fine over there.
Does a referendum on that, does that throw your budget out of balance?
No, I mean, look, I've told you all along that this program of Senate Bill 5 is designed to give local communities the ability to control their costs. If the city of Columbus had Senate Bill 5 in effect last year, they would have saved $50 million. It's a tough budget. There's no question about it. But we're giving people the tools they need to cope with it. And some people at the local level don't want the tools because they don't want to have to make any decisions. Well, it's time to make some decisions to reform yourself at the local level, just like it is at the state level. So, look, in terms of this provision or that provision, I'll get a good full look at this bill today, but I have no concern about what the legislature is doing at this point.
Governor, with alternative sentencing, some counties in Ohio have alternate drug courts, but not very many. Is that something that you would look at favorably?
We got to go to Gary.
Favorably, and maybe even look at legislation to encourage drug courts?
Well, one of the whole issues with sentencing reform coming out of the Council of State Government's recommendation is to divert people, but also to reinvest money into the community correctional setting. Drug courts is a great example. Drug courts, day reporting centers. What we want in the community are facilities that are multifaceted, not just one type of approach, but can handle a lot of folks. But that, Ron, that's an example of what we would be reinvesting into our community, because many of those do work and are effective.
The 5 prisons, is 5 the number? Is this the first 5? How are you guys looking at it?
Yeah, let me just say this. There are 5 prisons, 2 privately operated prisons, this vacant prison, and then 2 state-operated facilities. And they were selected because they're grouped together and there will be an attractive package to handle level 1 and 2 level inmates. I have no plans. I mean, we're going to make this successful. That's my commitment. And as I told the governor earlier, we're going to make this successful, and then we're going to really do some significant reform work around doing the right thing, whether it's increased sentencing reform or managing and productive prisons in Ohio. Whether we privatize or make it public is secondary to doing the right thing, and that's what we're going to be doing. I have no plans to go beyond what we're doing. We're going to make these successful.
I believe that what we will be doing here in Ohio, with the blending of public and private, and with the sentencing reform, I believe that this becomes a model for many states. I mean, governors will be very interested in this. Don, they'll be very interested in what we're doing with Medicaid reform, where we have almost all the stakeholders that have bought into our package. It's our ability to move our liquor profits into Jobs Ohio is getting a lot of national attention, as being really, something that's very significant. Our reforms of K through 12, including something I'm extremely excited about, and that is the legislature actually moving through the Teach for America and allowing Ohio to participate in Teach for America. That's another great reform. The idea that we're going to move more towards charter universities. So we have a very reform-oriented budget that is not just corrections, but a number of things. But let me just go back 1 second to keep Teach for America. We have some of the best and the brightest who want to go into our classrooms and give a couple years of their lives to help educate kids. They have been systematically excluded from being able to have the ability to fully participate in the state. At my State of the State, I said you can count on the fact that we are going to have Teach for America, get our best and brightest into this state, and a lot of them are from Ohio, who leave Ohio to go do this in other places. This is so good for the kids, and that's what gets me so excited about this, and we're going to have a lot more to say about Teach for America. Okay.
When you sell these prisons, would you consider a hold harmless provision with the private prisons to make sure that at no point the communities would be damaged by any decisions made by these prisons?
Okay, let me just answer this. This facility is closed, and now it's going to be opened. I think that speaks for itself.
Can we get an income tax related fact? Columbus recently had a 25% income tax increase from 2 to 2.5. Maybe that's what ran Bob Evans out of town. I don't know. Estimated that there were maybe close to $8 billion in tax expenditures or more tax credits to businesses. Now, some may view that as a tax cut. The question is, does that not prevent individual income tax rates going down by allowing businesses all of these tax credits?
What we're doing is, the refundable tax credit is something we need to have in our arsenal. But we're also looking at ways in which every Ohio business that creates jobs, can be rewarded for that. We don't have that plan all put together yet, but our primary focus right now is to be in a position of where jobs in Ohio, companies in Ohio will expand. The ability to go out and attract people, that comes secondarily, although we're working on that as well. But no, the ability to give some tax incentives to businesses does not keep us from being able to do more tax relief. I'm thrilled that we're going to preserve the income tax cut that we received in January, but that's not the end of it. Thank you.